that's how that's going. All right, so think DEI and feminists are bad now. And they just went nuclear. I saw this and it kind of freaked me out. And somebody, like I said, on Local shared it. And I read the story and I said, you've got to be kidding me. They're ramping this up to 11. From the Wall Street Journal, new score uses AI to rate brands' inclusivity in advertising. Now remember, inclusivity is not being inclusive. Inclusivity is inclusive if there's no white people, more specifically white men, more specifically white straight men. Because if you're white but you're gay, there's some diversity in there. And if you're white and you're a woman, there's some diversity. If you're white and you're a woman and you're a lesbian, there's quite a bit of diversity. Not as much, though, as a black female trans lesbian, because that's like the ultimate two-spirit, you know. So this is what happens. This is what happens when you let crazy women and crazy feminists in charge of things. The more they do this, the more I start saying, you know, the repeal the 19th guys, they're onto something, I think, here. That's how, the more women do this, the more it's forcing men to take kind of extreme stances. Because I was the libertarian / anarcho-capitalist guy. And now I'm starting to be like, I don't know, let's hear them out. I think they're onto something. Before we get into this, let me quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, TWC Health. You guys know I've been talking about TWC Health a lot because we've got all the craziness going on. Whether it's the docks shutting down, whether it's strikes with now Boeing is having some strikes. So far it hasn't affected the airlines, but it might. And we're in conflict in Iran and Russia and China and South Korea. So you know they're sending the hackers at us to shut things down. So make sure that you get yourselves protected. This is the wellness company. They've got medical emergency kits. And these are not like aspirin and Tylenol kind of stuff. This is the good stuff. They have, they say here, they treat over 30 medical conditions, including anthrax and the plague. That's pretty based. Bite wounds, pneumonia, parasitic infections, STDs, sinus infections, strep throat. I know for those STDs, I know some of you guys out there need to get that. Then you don't have to do a doctor visit because you just went out and hooked up with a Tinder date on a Friday night. Travelers runs, they even have antifungals in this thing. And check this out. I just found this the other day. This is from Science Direct, which is a study on ivermectin. It's a potential anti-cancer drug derived from the anti-parasitic. So this is definitely good stuff, guys. Definitely good stuff. So make sure to hop over twc.health/oddmanout. Use code oddmanout to save $30 plus free shipping. Get yourself a medical emergency kit. The best day in the world is a day you don't need it. The worst day in the world is when you need it and you don't have it. They say backers hope analyzing ad elements such as age and skin tone will encourage more equitable representation. Socialism, Marxism, that's what this stuff is. Everybody has to be equal. This is socialism. But the tool arrives as some companies showed less enthusiasm for diversity initiatives. Now, why are they less enthusiastic about the diversity? Because people boycott it. Because people will stop buying the product. Because people will make these companies pay for being retarded. That's what they're doing. They say a new initiative called the Representation Index aims to give brands scores to reflect how inclusive their ads are or aren't. Just as some companies are backing away from diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. The index is being introduced by Female Quotient, a group that promotes gender equality in the workplace, and XR Extreme Reach, a tech platform used by brand marketers and others. It will use artificial intelligence to analyze elements such as age, body type, skin tone, gender expression, and accessibility, its creators say, to create a score between 0 and 100, with higher scores deemed as being more inclusive. Now, who really is the Female Quotient? They're a bunch of activists. Right here, this is their About Us page. Experiences media transformation. We're the largest community of women in business. And you can see here, this is not diversity, by the way. Because can you imagine if there was a male quotient, a business of activists that were all men pushing men's agendas? They say a woman alone has power. Together we have impact. And here's the CEO. They're getting their they're getting themselves into everything like toxic, like poison, like toxic. And you can see it's just huge pictures of feminists. They're strategically partnering with the most influential businesses in the world. So they're activists that are basically worthless. These are worthless people. They offer nothing. Now, maybe they have business degrees. Maybe they went to college. These are worthless people. And so they've created a new brand of business, which is we're going to insert ourselves into your company and you need to listen to us. This is the boss bitch Karen, like end boss. That's what they are. And they're inserting themselves into companies and advertising and media and everything else. And their specific role is to push out men, to push out straight people, to push out white people, to push out conservatives, to push out traditional masculine men. That is their goal. They say the scores will be available to customers of XR Extreme Reach. There you go. So now they're going to make this score and they're going to tell these brands and these advertisers, oh, you don't have the XR Extreme Reach app that tells you about the diversity of your ads? I'm sorry. We can't represent you. We can't allow you to advertise. You must become a member and get your XR Extreme Reach score, and then we can find out if you're participating enough that we will let you into whatever the hell this is. Its current clients include large advertisers such as Procter & Gamble and Indeed, and won't be publicly released. But marketers will be able to compare their scores for ads or campaigns against their advertising as a whole and against the averages for their industries and potentially make changes to their work before releasing it. Or more importantly, companies like BlackRock and Vanguard and all these other investing places that use other metrics, well, now they're just changing the metrics. And now you have to use this new score system or else you will fail. And you can see here they have a score of 30. Because, it might be a white woman. She might have a wedding ring on, which means she's married. She might have a child in the back seat that maybe has a baby child seat or something. Or maybe there's a white husband in the commercial and they're both mid-30s and they're both healthy weight or athletic. So the score is 30 because that's low inclusivity. But you can get a high inclusivity scale if you show the gay wife and the trans black husband and their three Yorkies in the back seat. This is what they want. They say if your score is 20, you've got work to do, said Joe Kinsella, a worthless human being who has that's not what they said. Global president and chief operating officer of XR Extreme Reach. In the world of AI, you can auto-generate an ad where you can say, make this man a woman. There you go. Make this man a woman with this skin tone and this body type. And you can move much quicker than you could have years ago when you had to mobilize a whole production team. Replace this man, make it a woman, replace the white skin tone with this skin tone, and make the body type a fat person. That's literally what they're looking to do. When I visited my mom in Florida, I haven't had cable for like 20 years. When I visited my mom in Florida a couple years ago, we were sitting watching advertisement. And I said, have you ever noticed that? And she said, no, what? I said, you watch TV all the time. Do you watch commercials? She said, no, I don't really pay attention to them. I said, do me a favor, let's just, because she was watching one of her shows and we were sitting there having a conversation. I think it was Jeopardy or something. I said, turn it up a little bit, next commercial, and let's watch them. And we sat and watched the commercials together. I said, what did you notice? She said, because I said, pay attention to everything. And I said, what did you notice? She said, I didn't notice anything. I said, did you notice that the truck advertisement, they were advertising the Ford pickup truck? Did you notice that it was a white woman and a black woman and they had children with them, but there was no man in the commercial? She said, I didn't even notice that. And then the next commercial was a woman with her two children and it was laundry detergent or something or other. I said, what did you notice there? She said, I don't know, a mom. I said, she didn't have a wedding ring on. She wasn't married. I mean, at least according, because back in the 50s, you had to have wedding bands on. You couldn't sleep in the same bed. They had certain rules. Now it shows a woman with her two kids and she's doing laundry. There's no man in the picture. There was no man in the advertisement. There's no wedding ring. Then they show another couple, black husband, white wife, and couple, because they didn't still have wedding rings on. And they had, multiracial children. when you or the other classic one that I love is the incompetent boob of a husband that breaks everything he touches because he's a mouth-breathing idiot, and the smart, smarmy wife that has to call this repair company to come fix the idiot husband's mistakes. And when I started pointing out this to her, she said, well, yeah, I guess so, but it's been like that for a long time. To her, it has. It's slowly bled in over the last 20 years. To me, since I don't watch cable TV anymore, for me, it was just like, oh my gosh, I don't think I've seen a white man in an advertisement in an hour or two. And it's not that I'm looking for it, but when you're used to advertisements from, I don't know, 10 or 20 years ago, and then you see the new advertisements, you're like, holy crap, this is a big difference. There is definitely a message being sent here. And I'm not saying that black guys shouldn't be in advertising. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that black people shouldn't be in ads. But what I'm saying is when you see a lot of these ads, you realize, oh, there's no white men. There's no white men in these ads. Or if there is, he's kind of effeminate or he's a background character. And I'm not personally offended by that. I mean, to me, I really don't care because I don't watch advertisements. I really don't care. But it does tell you that there's definitely a message being sent. And if I were in the work world, because I'm not, I'm out here in the middle of my land doing stuff on the internet. If I was in the work world, maybe I'd be seeing a difference. Maybe I would be concerned because it's hard for me to get a job. Maybe I would be concerned because we're not represented in media anymore. It's as if we've been washed out of the picture. And in many cases now you could almost say, well, that's how black people felt in the 60s. That's how Asians felt in the 70s and 80s. Fair enough. Fair enough. I could see where people said, hey, I don't feel like I'm being represented in commercials and in society today. I get that. I can see where they would be complaining. But to do it to people today, which is the reverse stuff, right? Like, oh, well, they did it to us back in the day, so we need to do it to you to be even. That's not how any of this gets any better. Can we not just maybe make everything kind of like have representation of everything? But they don't want that. And it's the same thing with this stupid thing, this female quotient, is that this is not, can I open this image in a new tab? Why can I not? I guess not. That's weird. Anyway, if you look at this picture, it is, I would say 95% white women. I genuinely would say 95% white women. That's who's in this picture, 95% white women. So how are you going to say that? How is this allowed? But if a group of us men get together and we want to do the male quotient, the progress male, whatever, we'd be kicked out of everything. We'd be saying we're just a bunch of toxic males. Getting women in charge of things, letting them control the narrative, letting them use their, men use strength. If men wants to get his way, he uses violence. He uses his strength. He's like a gorilla. And there's studies on this stuff. I'm not just making this off my head. Women don't have that strength. So what do? They lie. They steal. They manipulate. They work behind the scenes. That's why women, to get rid of their husbands, sometimes put a little Clorox in his coffee, where dudes probably want to put her to sleep by wrapping his hands around her throat. Two completely different ways to do it. Women are sneaky. These women are sneaking into everything, and they're pushing men out of it. And this is another example of them doing it, and they're now getting in the forefront of all this with AI. And here they even say an earlier metric called the gender equality measure has gained broad industry adoption since its introduction by See Her, which is co-founded by Female Quotient. Brands such as AT&T and Procter & Gamble have said they used the tool to improve the depiction of women in their advertising. So now what's happening? They get rid of the GEM. They're getting rid of gender equality measure. And companies say, we're not going to be using this metric anymore. Stop coming after us. We're going to quit. We're going to stop using this. And then they quietly go behind the scenes and do the same thing, but with a different product. That's what they're doing. And they're admitting it. And so when Robbie Starbuck or these others out there that say, we're beating DEI, everybody, Toyota said they're no longer going to participate in the gender equality measure. And these other companies say, we're not going to do this stuff anymore. We quit. No more gender equality measure. Hey, man, you got my XR Extreme Reach score over here for me. It's the same thing. Don't get suckered. They continue, if you don't measure it, you're not accountable. And people got away with having a lack of representation of gender in their advertising. Zales said. We created a standardized measure for the industry, but what we're missing is the total inclusion. See, they want to say what society is. Here's the truth. 50% male, 50% female. I don't know, whatever it is, 60% Caucasian, 20% black. I'm pulling these numbers out of my ass. I'm just saying, 15, whatever, Latino, 5% Native, maybe Asian, whatever, right? If you took that and said, okay, this is the percentage of people in the United States, we would like it if all advertising was kind of reminiscent of this, what we have here. You'd say, you know what? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm okay with that. I would be okay with that. But what they're putting in place, right? 30% have to be gay. You have to at least have one trans person in there. You can only have one white male. You can only have 2 white females. If I don't know it's about the fucking message every single time. Every single time. It's not representative of anything in America. And when you point that out, they call you racist or bigot or a homophobe or anything else. They're full of shit with an agenda. And they're getting it in these companies. They're getting it in movie theaters. They're getting it in video games. They're getting it in music. And when we notice, we're the bad guys. This is why you vote with your voting ballot, you vote with your wallet, and you shame people, and you make fun of them, and you call them out. You want to start telling straight white men that we're bad and we're toxic? Now we got a problem. Because what you're basically doing is declaring war on us, me as an individual person. You're declaring war on me, that I'm a problem because I'm straight, or I'm white, or I'm male. Now, this doesn't mean I'm going to come after you with violence. I am a very peaceful person. I'm not going to come out and fight you. I'm not going to come out and harm you. We're not going crazy. But what I am going to do, I'm not going to buy your products anymore. I'm going to boycott you. I will have a list, which I actually have, of products I never buy again, ever. And then I'm going to tell everybody else about you. And we're going to start shaming you and making fun of you. And this is why Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, if you mispronounce somebody or if you make fun of somebody or you shame them because they're 500 pounds and might cough and die from a heart attack because they're overweight, this is why they remove us from those places, from speaking. Because the minute we start shaming, the minute we start calling it out, other people might say, yeah, you know what? You're right. This is kind of bullshit. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. So remember this stuff. Remember this stuff and push back against it. And now they're going to keep growing and growing and growing until people get so furious that there is a massive backlash. It will happen. It will happen. I don't know in what form. We are in insane times. And I'll tell you something. I used to be the guy that was like, whatever. Not anymore. Now I'm pissed. Now I'm pissed and we're going to push back. They say the new index will soon add another factor into its calculations by taking account how reflected various groups are in positions of authority. Oh, you have a black lady in your commercial, but it's not the one in charge. That person has to be in charge. It doesn't matter if they're qualified to be in charge. You just must put them in charge. The index comes as some major brands have walked back internal programs intended to foster diversity, equity, and inclusion. Beer maker Molson Coors in September said it would no longer participate in a scoring system by the Human Rights Campaign, an advocacy group that gives scores to companies based on the LGHD-TV inclusion in their workplace. A month earlier, Harley-Davidson made a similar announcement. But the makers of the index say the business case for inclusion for advertising is clear. When you come to purchase decisions, over 85% of decisions are made by women. Strong buying power also extends across different races, ages, and abilities. So now they know 85% of women are the ones buying everything. And so they're going to go, well, just go ahead with this shit. Who cares what the men want? Who cares if men are complaining? We'll just push men out of a society. They don't bother to buy our products anyway. Good luck, Ford. Good luck, beer companies. Good luck, Harley-Davidson. Good luck, Toyota. Good luck, television brand. Good luck, clothing brand. Good luck, food brand. There's a lot of, now, yes, women go out and buy makeup and they buy perfume. Men buy vehicles. Men buy houses. Men buy clothing. Men buy tools. There's a lot of things men buy. So the 85% that you want to do this with ladies, go right ahead. But if you do this on anything men will buy, if you do this on male brands, you're going to fuck yourself and you deserve it because your company will collapse. And look, BlackRock and Vanguard, there's only so much money to go around. The reckoning for this shit will be catastrophic. The big thing you need to do is make sure that you're ready for it. You better be ready for it. Also, make sure you have your medications because, when things go bad, I'm just saying. Be ready. I'm telling you. I am telling you.